Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special broadcast today because we're going to be talking a little bit about email marketing. And rather than me bloviating for a change, I am going to be bringing in good friend of the group and self-publishing books over on Facebook, Evan Gao. What's happening, Evan Gao? How are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. I'm psyched. I'm pumped.
That's good. That's good stuff, man. So I want to get everybody loaded up a little bit here. So
Yeah.
if you happen to be watching this video right now, do me a favor. Hit some of the hearts and some of the likes. And I don't care if you're watching it live or on the replay. Give us some love. We like love. Do you like love, Evan?
I love it. You know what? I just went and I loved it myself. So there we go.
Yeah, there's a whole love fest going on. And for
Getting the
those
crowd
of you
going.
that are on Twitch as well, what's shaking everybody on Twitch? I need to get my Twitch fam opened up here on chat so that way nobody thinks that I'm ignoring them. I want to make sure that we're all good to go. We're flying by the seat of our pants, by the way, here, folks. Give me just a moment. And I'm going to go over here into the channel, make sure we're muted, and we're going to do the pop-out chat. All right, there we go. So now I've got both chats open. So folks, this right here is Evan Gao. He is the founder and CEO and pretty much the man behind StoryOrigin, which is an email collaboration service, and it's really new. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but before I do, I think it's so important that, first of all, folks, if you have questions, concerns, and comments, drop them inside the chat, whether you're on Twitch or if you're in the Facebook group. We're going to make sure to double back around, but I've got a few burning questions for him, so keep loading us up, and I'll go back through some of the chat to review some of those things. Evan, I need you to do me a favor. Get me to stop talking and tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So thanks for having me on. I'm happy to be here. I'm a part of the group. So if anyone ever has questions on StoryOrigin, I'll always happy to jump into comments on any post. But yeah, so I'm the founder of StoryOrigin. I've been working on it for a little over a year and a half now. I initially got really interested in writing back when I was in high school, and I've always wanted to pursue that. And when I was thinking about StoryOrigin, I really wanted to start something that helped authors work together as a team. Sort of teamwork makes the dream work. Self-publishing is a lonely road. But it's so much better when you have other people who you can share that experience with and that are helping to lift you up, as a part of a community. So that's why I started StoryOrigin.
That's so awesome, man. I know it was so crazy, just a little bit of a backstory between how the two of us got connected. Victoria L.K. Williams, good friend of the channel and member with Self-Publishing Books over on Facebook, had said in the group, anybody ever try out the StoryOrigin? And I was like, no, I've never heard of that. And you were like, that's me!
I'm here.
That's so cool. Yes, and Evan is super, super nice. You guys are going to start to find that out as we go further here into today's interview. So I've got a few burning questions. My very first one is, of course, with your service being around email, the big question, because I hear a lot of people spouting out that email marketing is dead. Is email marketing still effective?
I think that actually email marketing is more relevant today than it has ever been. If you look at the ways that you can reach your customers before, back in, when was it, 2011, when Facebook, announced their Facebook pages, right? And everyone was trying to get all of these likes on their Facebook pages. And then what happens is, you would show up in everyone's feed once they liked your page, but then a couple years down the road, what does Facebook do? They cut it off so that your posts only go to 2 to 3% of the people who have wanted to follow you as a brand, right? And so it became a pay-to-play business, right? The only way you're going to get seen is if you're paying to boost your post to the audience that you already paid to come like your page, right? To get out there. And now we're seeing the same thing. Amazon's doing the exact same thing, right? Like they're A/B testing their also bought section so that you won't just show up in the also bought section because you have a good book that other people that like that book like, right? Like now they're testing, okay, what if we make this section pay to play as well? So the only way you're going to show up in the other books people might like is if you pay for it. And getting into how you're listed, your book is listed when people actually search for the title, you're going to have to pay just to have that #1 spot, because other people can pay to advertise on your book's title as well, right? So everything is becoming more and more of a pay to play business. And so that's where email marketing is really important, because you own the direct line to your customer, right? The direct line to your readers. And no one can really take that away from you. So yeah, I think email marketing is more relevant now than ever before.
Nice, nice. I'm glad you were able to break that down. Not too many people really point out some of the things that used to work, but
Yes.
it seems like email marketing is the thing that has been a constant these days. So excellent
sure.
breakdown of that. My question is, how hard is it to start an email list? Because I get a lot of authors, they're like, oh, it's too much work. I don't want to bother with it. How hard is it, or is it easy? Can you kind of explain what the process is?
Yeah, I mean, to get an email list started is very simple. You can set up an email list very, very easily on MailChimp or MailerLite. They have very large free tiers, so it'll be a while before you even have to pay for a service like that. And probably takes 2 minutes to get it set up and get going, and then and then you can start building your audience.
Nice, nice. What would you recommend? Let's say I'm just brand new to email marketing. What's the best first step?
Yeah, I would say the best first step is to write something that people want to read. I would say, and the reason I say that is because the first step to email marketing is not just about collecting email addresses, right? The first step to email marketing is about providing value to your readers, right? When you're a big name and people around the world know you, they'll want to sign up to your mailing list just because they want to know about your new releases. But when you're a new author, or you still don't have a big mailing list audience yet, what you want to do is you typically want to write, let's say you've written a series, a trilogy, and I talk a lot about series, but you don't have to be writing a series. It could be nonfiction as well. Let's say you're writing a trilogy though. Typically what you want to do is you want to write a short story, prequel to that trilogy, maybe 15 to 20,000 words, give that prequel away for free in exchange for when someone signs up to your mailing list. And then you can try and upsell those people into buying into your series, right? And the reason that I talk about series so much is because when you give that prequel away for free, you have the opportunity to make you have the opportunity to get them to pay for books 1, 2, and 3, right? So having that series increases the lifetime value of the reader or the customer, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that the most important first step is actually is creating what's called that reader magnet, something that you give away for free in exchange for people signing up to your mailing list. Because unless you're a really big name, like, you have to be providing value to people right off the bat for signing up.
What would be the best email service provider that you could recommend to someone just starting into this?
Yeah, I would say you can't go wrong really with MailerLite or MailChimp.
Okay.
Either of the two is probably, going to be just fine. Once you get into some of the really more advanced configurations, MailerLite and MailChimp still have a ton of features on that front, so you'll probably still be fine as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you might want to do like more research into it when you're like, oh, well, I really want to do this specific thing and I need this feature. But other than that, just starting out, I'd say, yeah, MailerLite or MailChimp, either of the two.
I noticed when I had first came into the business of email marketing that sometimes I was just overwhelmed, and especially MailChimp. I love MailChimp. For the record, by the way, folks, we're not being paid by either one of these organizations. We're not dropping any kind of links. It's just up to
Yeah.
you. But I agree with you on MailChimp. Really love it. But I found that there were so many features to jump into. What's the best
Yeah.
way to learn some of the system and how to use some of the tools that are inside the dashboard?
Yeah, I think, MailChimp actually just totally changed the layout of their dashboard. I don't know if you've looked at it.
Yes.
So, I mean, honestly, I think there's really only there's only two main components that you need to think about, regardless of what mailing list service you're using. There's always going to be some way to create a mailing list, which is simply a group of people that you'd like to be able to send email campaigns to. And then the second part is email campaigns, which is the actual text of what you're going to send to people. Those are the only two features that I would even worry about at the beginning steps. And honestly, the best way to get started is just create a mailing list, put yourself on it, and send yourself an email campaign. Just to make sure that you understand the flow of how everything works. You understand how you can look at the open rates and click rates, etc.
Nice. Excellent. I
Yeah.
love that. While we're kind of at it, and I know this is probably getting a little bit beyond, say, the beginner's level,
Yeah.
what is a good open rate for your emails, and what's a good click-through rate for authors particularly?
Yeah, I would say a good open rate is somewhere between 30 and 50%. If you're below 30%, I would say it's definitely time to scrub that email list, and remove some of the non-openers. You might be going into one of their folders that they never check or something. And so email list scrubbing, for those who are new, is basically you can create a segment of your audience that maybe hasn't opened an email from you in the past 6 months, and you can just remove those people from your list, or you can put them into an automation sequence that says, hey, I'm going to remove you from this list. I saw that you haven't opened this email in the past 6 months. Like, if you want to stay on the list, click here, purely opt in. Otherwise you can simply remove them from the list if they haven't clicked any one of those like call to action buttons in your sort of offboarding email sequence.
Nice. Excellent
Yeah.
tip. And actually, I find that that's a great practice. I've never heard it referred to as scrubbing. I call it email list hygiene. It feels a little bit more pleasant because, at the end of the day, you're like booting people out. You're not going to open
Yeah.
your email? Get!
Yeah. Scrubbing is a little, it's a little abrasive.
But that's
like a
all right.
Brillo pad.
Whatever
Yeah.
gets the
Yeah,
job
maybe
done. Whatever gets the job done. So how long would you say, how long do you hold on to an email? Let's say that they're not opening. What's the kind of the metric that we're looking for that we're like, okay, you're out of here? Is it like if they don't open up after the first one?
It's hard to say. It also depends on what the frequency with which you send emails is too, right?
Yeah.
If you send an email every week and they haven't opened in the last 6 months, probably time to remove them from your list, right?
That makes
If
sense.
you send an email once a month and they haven't opened in the last 6 months, that could just be because their inbox is cluttered and they're not seeing it, right? It depends on how many chances they've had to see an email from you and they've ignored that, right? I don't think that there's a hard and fast rule or even necessarily a good rule of thumb about how many potential campaigns that you've sent to them that they've ignored. But it's always going to depend upon sort of your frequency and how engaged you are typically with your readers as well.
Nice. Good. I love it. Mojo just dropped in here. She's like, I'm going to have to rewatch this later, actually take notes, and you've been dropping some nuggets. And that's what I was hoping I was going to be able to get from you, Evan. Let's, we've kind of beat around the bush, and I wanted to kind of lay some groundwork when it came to email marketing and the importance of it. And it seems like you've done a pretty good job of the overview and what authors stand to gain in trying to break ground here. So let's address the elephant in the room. It's like right below your face right there. It's called StoryOrigin. What's the deal with this service?
Yeah. So as I mentioned when I was talking a little bit about my background, StoryOrigin is essentially a community for authors to work together to build their mailing lists, increase their sales, or boost their page reads. So what mailing list or what StoryOrigin can help you do is connect with other authors that are in your genre, and then you can cross promote each other, whether that's through a newsletter swap. And here again, Dale was mentioning this in the Facebook post, but it's not a review swap. That's a very different thing. A newsletter swap is simply where I'll agree to mention Dale's book in my next email campaign, and Dale will mention my book in his next email campaign, right? So we agree to mention each other. We're not swapping lists. We're not doing any of that, right? It's simply an agreement that I'll mention you, you mention me. So with StoryOrigin, you can find other people, what dates they have their campaigns going out, and then you can apply to swap mentions with them, right? And they can either have the choice to accept that or not, right? Because everything is totally opt-in on StoryOrigin. There's never going to be something where you're required to, promote someone when you don't want to promote them, right? So we can arrange newsletter swaps. The other sort of cross promotion that you can do is arrange group promotions, and that's where Dale, myself, and maybe 20 other authors in the same genre will all get together. We'll create a landing page, and it'll have all of our books listed on that landing page, and then we all send our newsletter traffic to that landing page with our books listed on it, so that we are all promoting each other. And whether you're doing a newsletter swap or doing a group promotion, there's sort of two underlying types to types of books that you can have on StoryOrigin. Okay. And so one is a giveaway where you're trying to build your mailing list. And then the second is a universal book link, where the link will go to various retailers where you have your book being sold. And so we can promote the sales of our books too, right? So two kinds of cross promotion: newsletter swaps and group promotions, and sort of two underlying kinds of books: a giveaway, which builds your mailing list, or universal book link, which helps increase your sales.
Yeah, this is awesome. We're going to get you behind the dashboard. Yeah. But we need to, of course, address something, because there's going to probably be some people that are like tuning out. Nope. He's trying to sell me on something. You're still 100% in beta mode and free, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, I mean, StoryOrigin is completely free to join right now.
Free!
Yes. And that means like all of the features are free. There's, when you go on the StoryOrigin landing page, there's a little bit of a joke. There's 3 different plans listed. There's the basic, the premium, and the professional, but they all have the same features listed under them, right? Excellent. And all of them are free. So it's a little bit of a joke on my end. But basically, StoryOrigin is in what I'm calling an open beta. And beta doesn't mean, it's crappy software or it doesn't work well. Beta basically means, in this case, that I haven't figured out necessarily what the pricing model is going to be. It probably will be something relatively cheap, maybe $10 a month. Okay. The main focus for me when it comes to what the price will be is making sure that you get a return on investment when you use it, right? Like, I don't want you to be paying for something that's not making you as much or more money than what you're paying for it. Which is why, especially, like, I'm really focused on building new features and releasing new features every week. So completely free to join right now, though. And even when it is paid, like, you'll be making more money with it than you're spending on it, for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, get in on the ground level, folks. You've got some really cool things, and hopefully we're going to go ahead and see some of that. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the screen share on the live. I need you to hit screen share on your end and show us a little bit about StoryOrigin and some of those features you're talking about. I'm a very visual guy, and I gotta learn that way. So let me switch over to the screen share, and boom, there we go. Now we are up and ready to go. So you have the floor, buddy. Show us what you got.
Yeah. So here's the StoryOrigin landing page. You can see a little bit about the various features here. See some of the reviews people have left. We'll go ahead and just jump right here into the dashboard. And I don't have a whole bunch of stuff set up on my account because this is all live stuff. And so mostly on, I do a lot of stuff on my testing account, but here, this is my live account. So I don't have a ton of stuff set up, but let's go ahead and look at some of the main features. Great. So like I mentioned, you have newsletter swaps where you can see what authors have campaigns going out, what the size of their mailing lists are, and what book they want promoted in exchange for, like, when we exchange mentions. So you can see here, some people have these little verified green check marks.
Okay.
And when you create a newsletter or when you post a mailing list on StoryOrigin, you can integrate it with your mailing list provider, and then StoryOrigin will pull the stats for your mailing list from that mailing list provider. Amazing. So that people know that when you say, oh, I've got X number of readers, they know that it's been verified, right? Because the data is coming straight from your email list provider. So let's say we wanted to swap mentions with Dane here. He's got a pretty big mailing list, has a decent open rate, has a decent click rate. I'll go ahead and click here. He wants me to promote his book Emergence. He's got a little bit about what his newsletter is and some additional info. And then I can go ahead and hit exchange book mention. And then here is where I'd select from a drop down of campaigns that I have going out and what book that I would want Dane to promote in his newsletter.
Okay.
So that's how a newsletter swap works.
Interesting. And what if, let's just say, for instance, no offense to Dane. So Dane, if you happen to be watching this, I'm not picking on you. Let's just say Dane isn't what I'm going for. Like, I don't feel comfortable in promoting his group or his book. He offers it to me. Can I turn him down?
Yes, you definitely can. Okay. So if someone applies to swap mentions with you, you can just ignore the application. You don't need to like say, oh, I don't like your cover, I'm not going to promote you or anything like that.
You don't need to make anything awkward.
You don't need to do anything awkward, right? Yeah. Like, you just hit ignore it, and it won't show up on your dashboard anymore.
Nice. I really like that. The fact that you don't need to do any confrontational type stuff. So
yeah.
Now, what about the people that, like, say, for instance, I would feel almost, maybe intimidated by someone's list that's, say, 5,000 subscribers.
Right.
I would feel afraid to ask them, is there anything wrong in me asking someone with a larger list? And vice versa, if I have that larger list, what do I have to gain out of bringing someone small to my email newsletter?
It totally depends, right? So when I swap with Dane, it depends on how exactly you want to set the swap up. Yeah. So I might apply to swap mentions with someone with a much bigger list than me. And they might give me sort of a mention in their newsletter where maybe my book's a little bit lower in their newsletter. Maybe it's not as prominent of a cover. Versus, since I have the smaller number of people on my mailing list and I want to make sure that we're trying to send a relatively equal number of clicks to one another. So maybe I'll make his book a little bit more prominent in my newsletter. Maybe it's a little higher up. Maybe it gets a little bit more like a little larger explainer or something like that. In general, I would say always be trying your best to send as many clicks to the people that you swap with as possible, right? Yeah. You don't want to swap with a whole bunch of people and not be sending them clicks, because part of what makes StoryOrigin really unique as a community. You can go into a bunch of Facebook groups and you can set up swaps through Google Forms and use Bitly tracking links and stuff, but there's no real way to build a reputation. On StoryOrigin, you can build your reputation by sending clicks to other authors. So for example, like, I don't really want to pick on anyone here, but if we hit view past campaigns, here you could see the book that they promoted in past swaps. So R.L. Jackson hasn't done any other newsletter swaps on StoryOrigin yet, hasn't run any, but you could see the past campaigns, what book she's promoted and how many clicks she's sent to that author, so that you can see, okay, before I swap with this person, do I know that they're actually going to sort of hold up their end of the bargain?
Amazing. That's really, really good. So you can see what the person's reputation is. So you're not necessarily jumping in knee deep into something like, they never really follow through with anything. So right. I think something that Huge showed to me, and I don't know if this is available to everyone or if this was something that was available to you, you're able to look at the email that they sent out in past broadcasts. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, that's right. So there, all Jackson hadn't sent any past campaigns.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of someone that maybe has sent some past campaigns.
By the way, all
Let's
these
see,
freaking
view.
covers are amazing. I keep seeing these
So
covers. They're awesome.
when you do a newsletter swap, so Rachel Ford has done newsletter swaps in StoryOrigin, and after you've done a newsletter swap, you can post the archive campaign link for it, and so we could click through and see what the email looked like, where the book was placed, how much text they got, like in terms of a summary on the book, etc.
Yeah. Good stuff. This is really, really awesome to see. I think my internet started messing up on me. Sorry if I chopped up there. But
No worries.
this is incredible that you're able to go in there. Is there any other things that you want to share about StoryOrigin? Because obviously, one, we already said, it's free right now, folks. Right now, you might want to get on the ground level. And it has so many things, including setting up giveaways as well as a group post of sharing everybody's books and such. So this is really, really cool. Anything else that we might have missed?
Yeah, so I mean, we talked a little bit about newsletter swaps, but the other main cross promotion is the list builders and the group promotions.
Okay.
So, for example, here you can see there's different types. So there's a Kindle Unlimited where the links will go straight to Amazon. There's a sale where the links will go to your universal book link, where readers can see all of the various retailers that your book is at. And then there are giveaways, which are for building your mailing list. So let's say that we went to this like Kindle Unlimited book fair. If I wanted to apply to this group promotion, it's pretty straightforward. I can look here. I can see my books in this bundle. I can click here to see the other authors that are in this group promotion. And then I can apply myself. I just select my pen name, choose which book I want to be included, and then hit the apply button. And then when we go ahead and look at it, we can see here are the other books that are listed in this group promotion. So it creates a really beautiful landing page where every author in the group promotion is expected to promote the link to this group promotion. And so we are all benefiting from all that newsletter traffic going to one place.
This is really, really cool. It's so exciting. Anybody else that's watching this live or on the replay, how exciting is that? To me, it's just amazing that we can all lock arms as indie authors and just completely raise each other up. This is so cool, man.
Thanks. I think it's pretty cool as well. But, I built it, so I might be a little bit biased.
You might be slightly biased, but that's A-okay. Yeah. So any other features that we need to be aware of before I jump into the chat to address any questions?
No, I think we pretty much covered them.
This is awesome. So if you want to hit stop screen share over on your end.
Yeah, let's do that.
And we'll go ahead. We're going to jump back over into the interview format because we have to have the pretty top and bottom. All right, here we go. So we got questions, concerns, and comments. Make sure you drop them inside the chat, and you're watching on the replay. I do address all of those. Just make sure you tag me later on if you're in Facebook. On Twitch, I'll get the automatic notification. Just want to thank everybody that popped in, of course, Mojo, Kevin, Victoria. Great to see you here, Victoria. Again, I appreciate you getting me connected indirectly with Evan here. All right, so here we go. It seems like a more general question. Does anyone use GoDaddy? I actually have used them for domain services. How about you, Evan?
I actually do all of my hosting through AWS. It's just simple because I manage everything from that one place.
Amazon, boo hiss, whoever uses their services.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a joke, folks. That was a joke, by the way. Totally kidding. Amazon's probably like lurking in my group and I don't even know it. So, all right, Mojo asks, does the campaign have to be written a certain way, or is it you saying, hey, this is what's going on, blah, blah, blah? I'm not sure what this is in reference to. Unfortunately, it seemed like it was when you and I were talking about email marketing.
Yeah, I think just to address maybe like what should I include in an email newsletter? Like if I'm going to be sending one every week or two or once a month, what do I include there if I don't have a new release, right? Yeah. So it's really important actually to engage with your email list on a regular basis. if you only email your mailing list, every time that you have a new release, then they're going to have forgotten that they signed up for your mailing list. And there's a high probability that they're not even going to see your email because, open rates just on emails in general tend to be like around 50%. So you want to make sure that you're staying engaged with your mailing list. And so the question is, what do I include if I have to send something every, week or two or once a month? Generally, what I like to include is a little bit about like what's going on with me personally, stuff that I might be writing about, like what I'm working on in terms of characters, plot development, etc. And then the other big part is including those group promotions that I'm a part of, and then talking about other authors that my mailing list readers might like. Actually, if you look at some authors have done surveys of what kinds of content that their readers like to get. And a lot of the responses from readers are like, I like hearing about other authors and I like hearing about like other books that I might like. And so that gives you, StoryOrigin sort of gives you something to talk about every week or two or once a month or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You can talk about, hey, I'm a part of this group promotion. Here's a great group of authors. This is sort of the genre, etc.
Something that just trapped up in my head is when I do recommend a book of some sort, do I need to do full disclosure, like of affiliate links at all that I need to be worried of?
So on StoryOrigin, when you can actually use your affiliate tags on StoryOrigin when you swap with someone, like on their universal book link or through group promotions, etc. So you probably should include just like in the footer of your email, hey, some of these links might contain affiliate links, like I'll get a tiny commission based on those affiliate links, but they cost nothing to you. Again, I'm not a lawyer. This isn't legal advice. So take all that with a grain of salt. Yeah. But in general, it's good to just include in the footer of your email that you may make some affiliate commission. But then on StoryOrigin itself, there is an affiliate disclosure, which should cover you anyway. So there is basically on every page, there's just in the footer on StoryOrigin, it just says affiliate disclosure. If readers click on that link, they can see, okay, yes, authors can set up affiliate links through StoryOrigin. And so people may be getting paid for those. But again, like it costs nothing to you as a reader.
Nice. That's really good good information, universally speaking, no pun intended. And this is a perfect segue into the next question. For the universal link, can I use the one I get from draft to digital?
So you can't. So all of the universal book links are native to StoryOrigin.
Okay.
And you can basically do the exact same things that you would do with StoryOrigin universal book links as you would do with draft to digital.
Oh, okay.
So like draft to digital, where it basically shows the various retailers that it's at, and then readers can click on one of those. And so if you click on the Amazon link and you're in Canada, you'll be taken to the Amazon.ca store. If you're in the United Kingdom, you'll be taken to .co.uk, etc. So StoryOrigin handles that localization aspect of making sure that the reader finds your book in the correct storefront for their country. And then the second thing that StoryOrigin does is it also does the same thing as draft to digital, where readers can select a preferred store. So for example, if I'm always going to read books on Amazon, I don't buy them from anywhere else.
Yeah.
When a reader can set Amazon as their preferred store, and then every time they click on a universal book link on StoryOrigin, they'll just go straight to Amazon. They don't need to hit a landing page where they look at the various retailers. Just takes them straight to Amazon so that it still remains a one-step process for those readers.
This is really cool. So this is not just a site that's just for authors. It's for the readers too.
Yeah.
That's amazing, which is great for a lot of people reading out there. Hopefully that helped answer the question there, Mojo. I see Risa Faye just popped in. It's good to see you, Risa. The giveaways are great to keep email list opening. Yes, everybody loves free stuff, man. Everybody loves free stuff, and especially if you're a voracious reader, you want to have as much as possible. And I wanted to kind of add something on that Evan said was, a lot of people always ask me, and sometimes in the coaching program, they're like, I don't know what to put out in my emails. Talk about other people. That's the funny thing is sometimes I get the most successful open and click-through rates.
Dale, did I lose you?
Oh, I'm frozen again. Good Lord. Hang on. Hopefully I'm back. Here we go.
Oh, yep, you're back.
Everybody's probably seeing me on that end, but who knows if you're seeing me on your end. So in any event, yes, talking about other people within your email newsletter, I always find is one of the easiest ways to do email marketing, because when you talk about other people, you're not talking about yourself. Sometimes people get more invested, so that when you finally do share something about yourself, the funny thing is they're like, they're excited to devour that stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right, looks like we have all the questions addressed over in there. I'm just gonna flip through the Twitch chat and such. My question from Kevin McGuire. I started a newsletter swap and my list is small, 257. It's a post-apocalyptic dystopian list. So far, I have no takers, but it's only been 24 hours. Are there enough small lists for me to attract swaps?
So I would say part of, StoryOrigin is a community with a diverse set of genres in it. One of the things that you kind of want to do when you use StoryOrigin is you want to still be active in other communities. StoryOrigin doesn't replace necessarily like finding newsletter swaps on Facebook and stuff, but StoryOrigin can handle the hosting for that swap so that you can trust each other, that you have that sense of transparency. So when you create a newsletter swap opportunity on StoryOrigin for people to be able to apply to swap with you, it's still good to sort of put that link out there. There are a bunch of Facebook groups that are specific to various genres where you can find newsletter swaps with other authors. And so you can post the link for your campaign in those groups, your link on StoryOrigin to those various Facebook groups and say, hey, I'm looking for newsletter swaps. This is my book. This is like the genre. This is the list size. Because, you want to be a little bit proactive. If you really want to swap with people, you want to be a little bit proactive about trying to find those swaps instead of just waiting for someone else to find you.
So true, man. A lot of people unfortunately think the kingdom's just going to get built by sitting from the comforts of your couch and people come to you. Oddly enough, it doesn't work that way, darn it. All right, well, it looks like pretty much all of the questions, concerns, and comments have been addressed. Evan, how can people get a hold of you? And of course, you're going to have to tell people that very unique way of getting a hold of StoryOrigin.
So it's pretty easy to get a hold of me if you just go to, I'll even go back to the screen share here.
Okay.
If you just look right there on the page, you just scroll down. There's my face. There's my email. Reach out to me anytime. You just shoot me an email at evan@storyorigin.in. Or if you just go to the contact page, my information's there as well. Super easy to get a hold of me. Or shoot me a message on Facebook. Like I'm happy to answer questions over Facebook Messenger as well. Regardless of where you're trying to get a hold of me, I'll get your questions answered.
Wonderful, Evan. I do appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk a little bit about StoryOrigin, man. Stick around after we do the disconnect, because I definitely would love to jib-jab with you just for 2 minutes afterwards.
Yeah.
Folks, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor. Hit a little bit of love, drop a little bit of a comment, say, hey, I'm looking forward to StoryOrigin. And if you're seeing this on Twitch on the replay, what are you doing with your life? Come join me every Wednesday at noon, twitch.tv/self-publish. On behalf of Evan Gao of StoryOrigin, and this has been Self-Publishing with Dale on Twitch and Facebook, and we will see you later.